All right, so today we're going to be breaking down QBanks' $112,000 per month sales funnel. I'm not going to try to sound smart here by using any kind of fancy words or anything like that. I'm just going to give you the exact value you came to this video for, which is to know exactly how he gets traffic, nurtures that traffic, and then converts that traffic into paying customers. And I'm also going to tell you where exactly he went wrong, and he definitely went wrong in a lot of places here. Within my estimates, he could be 3xing his revenue just by implementing the things that I'm going to be talking about in this video, and also where he actually went right and how you can implement all of those into your actual business so you don't make the same mistakes as him. So obviously, before we get into the sales funnel, who the hell am I? So my name's Kamil, and I've generated multi-six figures for my clients, optimizing their sales funnels. And here's just a few receipts from the last few months. $4.8 thousand for one client, 15x a client to $40,000 within 30 days, 9.6K, we doubled a client within a week, $49.5 thousand, quadrupled our client here within 2 months, and then of course $38,000 here, doubled the client within 15 days. Anyways, enough about me. I'm not going to try to waste your time here. Let's just get straight into the funnel breakdown. First of all, the thing I noticed is that QBanks does not have a TikTok. Now, this is a horrendous oversight here because he has a lot of demand for his actual videos on TikTok. As you can see, the reposts are getting upwards of 100,000 views in some situations, as you can see. So he should be posting on TikTok to be getting an insane amount of leads. Just literally reposting his Instagram videos onto TikTok will get him so many more cold leads that he can actually start selling to through his content and nurture them so that they can later buy in his sales funnel. And the reason I'm even recommending this is because he's already optimized the rest of his funnel very, very well in terms of social medias, but obviously now he has to add more social medias into his actual rosters and start scaling his info business from where it's at right now at around 100K per month. So obviously he has not implemented the TikTok, but what has he actually implemented right now? So the main short form platform that Q is actually posting on right now is 630,000 followers, his Instagram. Now, so we got public figure, co-founder of Top Tier Trader, profits only page at Currency Geek. Now, this is a little bit of an ad to his Currency Geek profits only page. I'm not going to be breaking that down right now, but he's also the co-founder of Top Tier Trader, which is building a little bit of social proof because that's an actual brand behind him. 10-year day trader and entrepreneur. You already know exactly who he is just from that one singular sentence. Mandeville, Jamaica, Miami, this could be gone. Obviously, I'd love for him to replace this with the actual DMCTA because the DMCTA gets cut off over here. So this could be removed and replaced with the DMCTA, and it would be way, way more effective, obviously. In the links, you have the link tree to QBanks, and then also 2 other links, which are to the Wall Street Academy, and then also the Wall Street Academy Day Pass. I'll get into both of those in a second. Next, moving on to his story highlights. So I love the story highlights that he's got. He's obviously got a ton of testimonials. He's got a ton of profits. The thing is, most of these can go. There's too much clutter in his story highlights that is going to confuse the audience, and analysis paralysis will kick in where they won't even see a single one of them, right? So as you can see, One Life Rally can be removed. Profits, maybe it can stay as a little bit of social proof. The journey has to stay because you always want to give them your story. Other than that, you want to go ahead and update this Q&A because this is extremely old. Remove almost all of this. So remove. Next, you also want to, again, remove this Q&A, remove the first trading post. You want to keep the records. You obviously want to keep the lifestyle, and you want to keep the testimonials. That is the only thing you want to keep out of all of this. You don't want to keep the gender reveal. You don't want to keep anti-MLM. None of this really matters at all. The only other thing that I could say that he might want to keep would be just the courses story highlight, but that's also probably better being removed because you want as little story highlights as physically possible that are going to get the point across as fast as physically possible. But anyways, moving into his actual content, in the pinned videos, he has 3 videos, and I love this because it's the same exact strategy I follow with my clients. So KLT method is actually going like this. So first of all, it's know, like, and trust. So you want to have one video that gets people to know you, and it has to be genuinely entertaining. So you want to wait for that video to go viral. You want to keep on adding videos to your roster and wait for a specific video that you think would be great for getting people to know your brand to go viral. And that's when you actually put it up on your pinned post. The way that QBanks has actually done this is by having the first video, which is his actual story, which is going to get people to like him. Second video is the one with the most views, and obviously this one's going to get people to know you, right? That's the basic way this is going to work. The one that's getting people to know you is always going to be the one with more views. One that's getting people to like you is going to be the next most viewed one, and then finally the one that you're trying to get people to trust you with is going to be the least viewed one at the end. For the actual content that he's posting right now, it's mostly just clips from his longer form videos of his trades, especially when he's winning trades, and then also he has a ton of motivational type of cinematic 2 bars at the top and bottom type of videos, kind of like what Nero Knowledge is doing, exactly the same thing with the B-roll and also the over edited text and everything. And recently he's been doing these sessions with this trader and mindset coach, and these have also been getting pretty decent views. So he's probably going to keep those up for a little bit. So going back to the links again, he's actually trying to link you mainly to his Linktree, right? So when you go to his Linktree, this is the thing you're going to see. First of all, it's going to be the Wall Street Academy membership enrollment. I'll get into this in a second, but the second one is for the day 24 hours analysis access. Now, this is super interesting because he actually has a kind of free trial going on. So I'm assuming this is kind of like, oh, try it out, check out my value, and then you can go ahead and upgrade, right? That's what he's trying to do. But the Wall Street Academy itself is $7,500. And for some reason, he has listed the price here for the main Wall Street Academy with no VSL at all. And he just has the rest of $5, $25 and whatever, right? He might be trying to go ahead and price anchor here for some reason, but that's just not how price anchoring works. You can't just slap a $7,500 price, which again, you're trying to hide it over here using the calls. So it's confusing that he, for some reason, put the price here. I'd be wagering that if he just had a VSL, join 274 members, it could be up to 1,000 to 2,000 members right now, just if he had the actual VSL implemented here, right? A very basic VSL, even if he used the same VSL that he has on his main page, literally would be perfect to just put right here and sell people on the actual Wall Street Academy. And the reason I'm saying all this is because different prices require different funnels. So you wouldn't make people book a call for a $5 course, would you? So a kind of playbook that you guys can use for whatever type of pricing you're going for and how to optimize a funnel for that is that as long as it's under 4 figures, right, it can actually just be sold right D2C, direct to cart, even if you don't have a VSL, which I would highly recommend you have a VSL if you're selling anything above $100 to $500, because that's obviously going to maximize your conversion rates, but it's not absolutely necessary in the lower than 4-figure range, especially for organic info funnels. So anything above 4 figures, it should always have a VSL. So anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000, it should always, no matter what, have a VSL. Unless you're running a webinar funnel, you cannot sell anything that's $1,000 to $2,000 without a VSL. It's basically impossible unless you want minuscule conversion rates with like 1 out of 1,000. Now, furthermore, if you sell something that's over $2,000 to $10,000, you need to sell it on a call. It is going to be physically impossible. Well, not physically impossible, but extremely difficult, nearly impossible to sell something like this even remotely profitably, because nobody's going to buy anything that's your $5,000 course just off of your VSL. You need to book in a call with them. It's basically impossible. And that's why all of these info funnels, whenever they're above 2K, they always have call bookings in the funnel. So this funnel just does not work. This is not how much you could price something like this if you're not going to get on a call with the prospect. You should be closing them on a call for something this huge. People can't just throw money at you even though they've watched all of your trading streams. That's just not how people work. But obviously the rest of this is pretty well done. I like the way that he has all of these different courses that he has over here that are just $5 for a singular day, which kind of acts like a free trial. And he makes sure that he does not just get tire kickers, because a lot of these free trials, they'll just get tire kickers who will take your stuff or pirate it or whatever. But even if you get somebody to spend a singular dollar with you, those are the only people who are actually ready to spend money with you, right? It's much more likely to close somebody who spent $1 with you instead of closing somebody who spent $0 with you and just tried a free trial. But of course, he also has a secondary source of income, which is this book called Trading for Idiots. Obviously, when you're running a funnel like this, I like to call this a book funnel, because it's literally a funnel based off of a book. So you're going to go ahead and sell them on the book right here. And then after they buy your book, you're going to upsell them into your way more expensive offer, because they've built trust with you, giving you like $20 for your actual book on Amazon, making them feel more comfortable with spending money with you. So obviously, as long as Killian makes sure that he gives enough value in this book, this is going to work really well to help people upsell into the greater, higher ticket offer, which is his actual main Wall Street Academy, or even the secondary Wall Street Academy as well. But of course, we're going to get into all of that in a second. We still need to break down the last and final social media, which is the YouTube at 206,000 subscribers. For the content on YouTube, he's making the exact same type of videos as TJR. These live trading streams, live trading breakdowns, obviously. just literal VODs from his actual live streams. They're literally an hour, 40 minutes, an hour long, which is going to help them nurture an absolute metric ton. Nurturing basically means getting people to see your face as much as physically possible. Now, this all comes back to something I like to call the 7-11-4 rule. Now, there's actually a study done by Google on this exact 7-11-4 rule, where prospects need to consume 7 hours of your content across 11 different touch points across 4 different locations to actually buy one of your products. Now, the 7 hours of content, pretty self-explanatory. About 7 of Q Banks's videos or these live trading streams will fulfill that parameter of 7 hours of content consumed. But it does not fulfill the parameter of 11 different touch points, which 11 different touch points literally just means different videos, different reels, whatever it could be, right? And so obviously that's where the short form platforms like TikTok and Instagram really shine, because you can consume an absolute metric ton of touch points on the Instagram very quickly in very quick succession, which is obviously going to result in the 7-11-4 rule being bolstered. Now, an interesting thing that a lot of people don't understand about the 7-11-4 rule is that the different touch points, the amount of touch points consumed is also proportional to the actual amount of hours they need to consume. So what do I mean by that, right? 7 hours of content, let's say they consume 7 hours of your content, but only consume 7 of your touch points in terms of your YouTube videos. That 7 hours of content is going to go up to maybe 10 hours of content that they need to consume right away because you have not consumed enough of the touch points. Now, in the same vein, if somebody consumes 20 or 30 of your touch points on Instagram, yet they do not fully, obviously, fulfill the parameter of the 7 hours of content consumed. Let's say they watch 2 hours of your content in total on Instagram through 20 to 30 touch points, right? That's going to mean that just the 2 hours of content is honestly probably enough for them to actually buy instead of having to consume 7 hours. Because in this case, you've doubled or tripled the amount of touch points that they're consuming. That's why these Instagram only funnels work really well, like Shelby Sapp and Samuel Millsap. That's why they're crushing it with these exact same type of funnels with just Instagram, right? And of course, the 4 different locations parameter, this is also the 4th part. That just means different locations where they see your face. That means your YouTube, that could be your Linktree that they see you, that could be their emails, that could be your Instagram, that could be your TikTok if you had one, that could also be your landing page. So whatever it may be, the amount of different places that people see you is obviously going to have an effect on the amount of hours needed to be consumed or the amount of touch points, right? That's why these cross-platform ads like Brez is doing right now are so huge, because when you see somebody across platforms, let's say you see somebody online and then you see them on a billboard, it's going to feel like they have way more authority right off the bat just because you've seen them in such a different amount of places. Like, for example, if you see Brez's videos on TikTok, you see them on Instagram, then he gives you an ad on Facebook, you're going to automatically assume that he's more of an authority in the space because you've been served one of his ads and he's obviously trying to pull you back into his funnel. So you're basically always in the back of your prospect's mind at all times, making sure that they are always thinking about you, which is going to make them feel like they know you better, and it's going to make them feel like more comfortable with you, which is obviously going to result in them being more prone to buying your products. Now, other than the live trading streams, he also does this Beyond the Charts series, which is just a ton of lifestyle content, building a ton of authority, again, nurturing a ton because it's 55 minutes to an hour long, all of these videos, even the Beyond the Charts ones. And of course, they're getting a lot of views, so you can see that there's a lot of demand for these exact same videos. And it's also being a little bit more raw and authentic, showing off Q Banks' actual lifestyle, showing off basically the behind the scenes of what he's actually doing, which is going to make people think that they know him much better than they actually do. Now, all of this is all to funnel people straight into this singular landing page, right? And this landing page is the Wall Street Academy landing page. First thing you see for 6-figure and aspiring 6-figure traders, which I'm not sure if he's tested that. Probably the person behind this funnel might have tested this exact title and the subheading, but I don't think this is going to work as well as something like free mini course or free training reveals. Something like that would obviously work better, and that's the industry standard. Maybe changing it up a little bit, like trading masterclass, whatever it may be. Just take the same exact spirit from the free training funnels and just change the words up a little bit. A lot of people mess up and think they need to invent a whole nother type of copywriting just because they want to be differentiated from the market. All you really need to do is that you need to say the same thing in a different way. So you could say free trading masterclass or free trading course or free trading mini course, whatever it may be. Next is the main title, unlock the strategy that's made me 7 figures with trading over the last few years. I like this title. It definitely could have a little bit more. I would love a little bit of problem avoidance right down here, where you would basically say without X pain point, without Y pain point, without Z pain point, which is just going to obviously get all these objections handled quickly before the actual VSL, so people are more likely to actually watch the VSL and give it a chance. And so I'm going to break down the VSL separately right now, but let me go ahead and break down the rest of this actual page. So first of all, apply to Wall Street Academy. Click here to apply. Pretty boxed up, CTA, pretty normal. Check out some testimonials from our successful students. The rest of this page is just a ton of testimonials. Obviously, there's a lot of screenshots. There's not a lot of video testimonials. There's literally none of them. So I'd love if you could have a little bit more video testimonials, text testimonials, a little bit of variety in the testimonials, because variety in the testimonials is obviously going to make them way more believable, as well as maybe dates and times and even names. Obviously, they are up here, but maybe a little bit of text on how X person made this amount of money with your best students, right? And then at the end, a few FAQs handling even more objections before people actually buy. Getting into the actual VSL, let me move over to my second tab here and we're gonna break it down over there. All right, so as you can see, I'm on the Wall Street Academy page right here, and here's the VSL. Let's get into actually breaking down. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into 1.25x speed just so we don't waste a lot of your time.
90% of traders are losing money following fake gurus and outdated indicators. This is how everyday people with regular jobs.
First thing off the bat, you see it's hosted on Wistia. Obviously, any hosting software you can use would be best. A lot of people just embed it or use YouTube videos. The reason you don't want to use YouTube videos in your actual VSL, which by the way, VSL stands for video sales letter. This is the video that's designed to sell people on your product. And the reason you don't want to embed YouTube videos into your page as your VSL is because when you embed YouTube videos, people are going to be way more likely to just click on the watch on YouTube button, which is going to take them away from your page. Which if they're taken away from your page, it's going to be way harder to get them back on there. And it's going to be way harder to sell them if they're really not sold by the VSL. So you're obviously going to lose a lot of sales by using your YouTube link. And obviously embedding is a better option, but you don't get all of the stats that you would get with YouTube or using a separate software like Wistia that helps you embed into your actual page, which is again, the reason that Wistia and all these other hosting softwares for VSLs are so huge.
Are quietly making $1,000 to $3,000 per week trading just 2 to 3 hours a day. Without gambling or random setups, staring at screens all day or chasing hot strategies, that stops working after a month. And I'm gonna show you how exactly we're doing it. Build trust and credibility. Look, I know you're skeptical.
Obviously, the interesting thing that I noticed here is that I'm pretty sure the person behind his funnel had left headings for the purpose of every single part of the VSL script. And Q Banks accidentally said all of the headings. So he's basically doing my job for me, which is that he's building proof and credibility right here. And he's telling you he's building proof and credibility, right? So obviously a little bit of an oversight on his part, but most people won't understand that. People who do will be very skeptical again. Just having these small issues is gonna tank your conversion rate by a good 0.2%, 0.1%, which if your total conversion rate is already at like 3%, that's a big hit to your conversion rate, right? And that will stack up, especially if your VSL keeps on repeating that, which it does here.
Cool. You've seen that flashy Instagram trader showing off Lambos and fake account statements. I get it. I'm not that guy. I do have Lambos though. I'm Q Banks and my story isn't an overnight success. I started working at Target making $8.30 an hour in 2015, dreaming of something better. I still remember when my manager called me in after 3 months of busting my ass, only to give me a 50-cent raise. That moment changed everything for me. I knew there had to be another way. Trading became my escape plan, but it wasn't easy. I blew accounts, I stayed up late until 3 a.m. watching chart patterns. I tried every indicator and foolproof system out there, but something wasn't clicking. Then I realized the market doesn't move based on indicators. It moves based on institutional money flow. And when I found...
Now that's a quick little bit of a unique selling proposition, a unique mechanism for his offer right there. And that is differentiating Q Banks from the market, all these other traders. He's using this as a separate, unique selling proposition for his actual separate mentorship program. And you'll see a lot of these people with unique mechanisms that mess up on the actual unique mechanism itself, because you want to make sure that it doesn't sound corny. And you also need to make sure that it actually breaks a belief within people. Everybody knows that chart patterns follow institutional money flow. is very, very basic. A lot of people maybe who are already in his funnel, engrossed in his funnel, will maybe convert. But the big problem here, which actually I'll pull out my Miro board here because this is a whole nother can of worms. We're going to go ahead and explain right here. So obviously stick with me here. There's a ton of sauce that I'm actually dropping right here. It may be a little bit of a longer explanation, but this is a huge, huge topic. If you understand this, you could be doubling your revenue just within the next 3 months, just with this singular topic. If you take anything away from this video, just understand this one thing, right? So the way that the prospects within the info space work, I'm pretty sure you guys have probably heard of Schwartz's 5 levels of market awareness from the book Breakthrough Advertising. If you haven't heard of it, for sure, go ahead and read the book. But as a quick overview, the 5 levels of market awareness are at the top. There's going to be the most amount of people, and there's going to be at the bottom the least amount of people. So we're going to go ahead and go from top to bottom here. At the top, there are people who are completely unaware. These people don't even know what the problem is. They don't even know that they have the problem. They don't even know that the solution exists and if they even need a solution. This is the vast majority of people in the entire world, and this is not who we are trying to mainly sell to in the info space. That's your actual videos job. That's your actual contents job, not your job in the actual sales funnel in the VSL. Next are people who are problem aware. So they know that they have a problem, right? But they don't know that there's a solution. They don't know that there's a fix that is out there and it exists. Next are people who are solution aware. Now, this is the vast majority of people who you're going to be serving within the space of social media and info marketing, right? And that's also coupled with the people who are product aware, which means that they know the solution and they know your specific product. So you just need to sell them on it, right? And both of these are the vast majority of the people who you're going to be selling. Now, at the bottom are most aware. Now, these people literally just need a checkout button and they will buy right away, right? They know everything about your product. All they really need is not to be told about the product. They just need a checkout button and also an add to cart button, and that's about it. So the people who you're trying to convert with your VSL are solution aware people, product aware people, and most aware prospects, right? You want to make sure that you're only converting those people because this will actually be handled by your social media content. Now, you have 4 total segments of the market that are kind of aware of you. Those segments go in a kind of graph shape, right? So it looks something like this, the actual amount of people in each segment. Now, people in the actual first segment, this is people who, if you literally gave them a checkout button, kind of like the most aware people, these are mostly the most aware people. If you give them a checkout button, they will buy without any social proof, without anything. You just need a decent okay landing page. That's it. Second type of people are people who are the vast majority of basically everybody, and the vast majority of people you're actually trying to sell with your landing page. Those are people who need testimonials, a good amount of testimonials. They need to be emailed, they need to be talked to, and they will need to be coerced into actually buying. But then there are the third and fourth sections. So the third section is, again, the most popular section with people who are very, very difficult to convert, but they will convert with enough social proof, testimonials, everything like that. You need to email them, you need to hammer them constantly with testimonials, social proof, and they need a lot of work. So when you're actually starting out with a sales funnel, you're mainly serving these 2 types of people in the first levels. And then later on, when you really, really want to scale, that's when you start serving the third market. That's going to be a whole nother can of worms and a very big pain in the ass, obviously, because you need to optimize everything to a T for them to convert, but it's a very, very big market. So if you can get them to convert, it's going to be a huge add-on to your revenue. Lastly, there are the fourth type of people. These people are absolute hell, and they're the worst type of clients. They need so much social proof. They will never buy, no matter what. Even if they see an ungodly amount of social proof, they will still not buy. So it's just a waste of time trying to sell to these people. And plus, the amount of these people is very, very low. And the basic thing I'm getting at here is that it's extremely important to understand where your market actually is in the spectrum so that you can tailor your unique mechanism and your unique selling proposition to them specifically, because you can't use some general crap like institutional money flow, because that all of these traders that Q Banks is selling to, they already know what that is. They've seen his free content. They know how the basics of trading, right? They know how the basics of trading work, most of them at least. So you can't really treat the people who are already problem aware like they're absolutely unaware and they know nothing about trading, because they already do. They know what their problem is in trading. They don't care about institutional money flow and how that works. You need to have an actually genuinely interesting and intriguing, mind-boggling difference. So a great way to find this for your own funnel is literally just go back to where exactly your audience was in your personal life. So for example, let's say you were 17 and you were just starting your business. Let's say you're also selling to 18-year-olds that were just starting their business. You're pretty similar there, right? So you would go back to that time and think, what was the biggest breakthrough that I had at that time that was able to help me advance? And once you can answer that, that should be your unique selling proposition. It should, and you should name it actually differently and make it actually sound cool, because unless you make it sound cool and make it sound interesting and new, people are automatically going to call you out on your BS. But anyways, let's move further into the actual VSL.
This isn't some doctored screenshot. This is a real US 30 trade I took that I netted over $500,000 in 5 days. And I've documented my entire journey publicly. From those first $200 wins at Target to consistent 6-figure trades to date. Problem amplification. Let me ask you something.
So again, he's messed up with the titles. So what he's actually doing here again is problem amplification, just as he said. He's taking your problem and now he's going to try to amplify it, make you feel more pain, right? So let's see how he does it.
Are you tired of seeing promising turn into losses the moment you enter? Are you frustrated watching other traders succeed while you're stuck in the endless cycle of 2 steps forward and 3 steps back? Are you sick of being glued to your screen all day only to end up breaking even, or even worse? I get it. The conventional approach to trading is designed to fail. It's built on lagging indicators that tell you what already happened, not what's about to happen. Support and resistance lines that magically stop working when you put real money on them. Complicated systems that collapse under real market pressure. These approaches fail because they've completely ignored how markets actually work.
So again, he's trying to break your beliefs, but he's not doing it in an extremely compelling way. And that's obviously not QBanks' fault himself. It's the person behind the actual funnel. He was not able to optimize the VSL to actually have decent copies. I would definitely say it a bit differently, obviously. Just as QBanks did, he is not emphasizing the specific parts that he is supposed to in this actual script. And you should always be referencing your specific market research for details on your ICP to specifically tailor it to them. And now this is kind of slightly generalized, and even slight generalization can lower the effectiveness of a specific VSL. And so because it is slightly generalized and it's so appealing to so many traders, he can sell to so many traders. But the thing is, he can't sell all of these other traders, the specific ones that he's really targeting, as well. Generally, you want to make sure your ICP is very specific, but you pick like a good 3-4 of them so that you can actually appeal to a greater amount of people.
Where institutional money flows and why. And I'm confident to say I've helped traders make their first 10K to 6-figure trades than anyone else in the game.
Throughout the first 5 minutes, he's adding a ton of social proof, which is one of the biggest things I saw in this VSL. That's huge because a lot of people don't add the social proof into their VSL within the first 5 minutes. But this is where people are really skeptical about you and they need to drop their shoulders. But the best way to obviously do this would be to have the proof all the way at the start. So you literally just have a 3-minute segment or 4-minute segment of just a ton of authority building and giving away a ton of proof, because I know QBanks has those results and he should be able to give away that proof. And once you give that proof, that's when you can get into the actual VSL. It's kind of like boxing, where you need to get them to drop their guard, that you need to get them to drop their shoulders, relax around you, and then you can hit them with a good, really long jab combo because they've completely dropped their guard. They're limp basically because you've hit them with so much social proof.
Since launching Wall Street Academy 8 years ago, we've generated millions in verified student profits. Take Chris, who went from barely breaking even to now making $18,000 in a single week following our exact protocol.
Now, where's the picture of Chris? Now, I want to see a picture of Chris because this is not believable. I want to see the actual screenshot from Chris. I want to see the actual picture from Chris. If you don't show that, you just sound scammy. This is one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make, where they're showing screenshots earlier, but then they, for some reason, when they specifically mention names, they don't show screenshots, they don't show pictures, which is going to make you sound like a scammy guru, which is not what you want to sound like. You want to sound like a cool guru.
Not after years of training, after just 6 weeks in our program. Or Daniel, who started with $500 and turned it into over $15,000 within months using our exact framework I'm about to show you right now. And Kevin proves that you don't need to quit your job. While working 50 hours plus weekly at his 9-to-5 job, he still added $50,000 in trading profits last year, trading part-time. What's the secret? They stopped gambling and started following a proven system, the exact 3 parts framework I've developed throughout years of painful trial and error, so you don't have to. Now, in the next 5 minutes, I'll break down everything that separates consistently profitable traders from everyone else in 3 systems that work together.
Again, he's also added a unique selling proposition to each and every single thing that he mentions within the VSL, which is going to make him sound unique and different from the actual competition. I'm going to go ahead and skip through this part because he's just going over 3 or 4 different value propositions and teaching you about what exactly they're about.
Forming from struggling traders to pulling in $1,000 through $3,000 a week without quitting their jobs or watching screens all day. The way out promise. Look, this isn't just making money. This isn't about giving you your life back. I don't want to see you stuck in traffic, hating your job, living paycheck to paycheck anymore. I don't want you to become the person whose family doesn't believe in them, who never gets a chance to prove what they're really capable of. This system isn't just a trading.
Now, right there was a little bit of humanization. He was trying to humanize himself right there. The background music was obviously a little bit obnoxious. Small nitpick though. Other than that, pretty good part. Humanized himself a little bit. I would have loved if he had even more specific humanization where he had actual pictures of where he was at before. But obviously he's going to do that a bit later. but I wish he had specific pictures for when he was on the come up, which he still does not have in this entire VSL.
Tragedy. It's your escape plan. And the best part, you only need 2 to 3 hours a day. That's it. No more wasting.
So a quick pain point avoidance where it's like, all right, you only need 2-3 hours a day. If you're doing a job, that's perfect for you. That's his ICP and that's who he's trying to serve. So that's why he's added in this little bit of a promise.
Precious hours of your life glued to screens while life passes you by. No more gut-wrenching losses keeping you up all night questioning every single thing. No more seeing that look of disappointment in your family's eyes when you have to explain why trading isn't working out. Again, just constant, predictable results that transform your financial future. If you're serious about becoming a consistently profitable trader, I've created something specifically for you. Introducing the Wall Street Academy Inner Circle 101 program, the most direct path to turning you into a profitable trader in record time. This isn't just another trading course. This is a complete immersion into my proof.
So this is where he's actually introducing the program, telling you what it is about. He's actually finally trying to sell you on the actual program. Now this VSL is pretty short at about 10 minutes, as you can probably tell, and it's probably not enough to sell his audience fully. I'd say if you could extend it to 15 to 20 minutes would work way, way better. Obviously, his funnel itself, his actual content is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here because it's nurtured the audience so much that they just need a short VSL. But a longer VSL is obviously going to do better. Now, again, he's going over all the value props for the actual program. Once you join, what do you get? And so now we're going to go and skip forward a little bit.
Becoming a consistently profitable trader is what you truly want, then the Wall Street Academy Inner Circle is exactly for you. And there's never been a better time to take advantage of the opportunity than right now. And here's why. Up until now, success in trading comes with an incredibly steep price that most people simply can't afford to pay. It meant blowing multiple accounts while trying to figure things out alone. It meant during sleepless nights wondering if you'd ever crack the code. It meant explaining to your family why you're still losing money after months of trying. It meant spending thousands on indicators, courses, and signal services that promised results but delivered nothing but disappointment. It meant missing years of potential profits while you struggle through the painful lessons after painful lessons. That was the price that most traders had to pay that many never make it through. But here's the thing, I've already paid the price for you. I went through every painful loss. I've tested every failed strategy. I spent a decade on perfecting this system. I traded through every market condition imaginable. So you don't have to, which means there's only one thing left for you to do. You have two choices here. Continue on your current path, hoping something eventually clicks, or join me in the WSA Inner Circle and implement a proven system that's already working for thousands of everyday traders.
So quick little bit of social proof with 1,000 everyday traders. He's also added in binaries, which is like option A or B. There's no other way you can go about this, which obviously there's way more ways, but that's a really good selling strategy, especially in sales calls. He's actually also decided to sell you on the actual opportunity, which is trading, for about like 1 minute, which is probably not enough. I'd say give at least 2-3 minutes in a VSL this long, just selling people on the actual trading business itself. This will depend on how the backend is working, like what kind of leads is he specifically getting. But from what I can see, he's getting very brand new leads. Like even if all of the 200,000 people are trying to trade, they're still very, very new to trading, a lot of them, right? And the interesting thing is that when you do this thing where you sell them on the actual opportunity and then at the end do a small like 30-second CTA, that type of VSL is going to make them actually thank you for selling them on the opportunity. That's going to make them thank you for selling them on trading and your obviously product, which is going to make it way, way more likely that they convert. So again, a lot of people sell on the VSL, the how, but not the actual why of why you should get into the actual business model. Or at least they don't spend enough time on it, like in this situation. He should have spent at least half the VSL talking about the business model instead of his own product.
People have been asking me to offer a one-on-one coaching for over 8 years. But due to the intensive personal coaching component, I can only accept a limited number of serious traders. This isn't the first time, and quite possibly the last time, I'm opening the program at this level. Now, with that being said, this isn't a cheap program. I've helped traders make life-changing money. And anyone who joins this exclusive program is getting tools that I'm confident no other trader is giving to their students. Plus my personal time, which is very expensive. But here's the truth. The traders who join my inner circle aren't looking for some budget course. They're looking for the fastest path to consistent profits. They understand that the right mentorship now saves them thousands in blown accounts and years of painful mistakes. My students constantly tell me that this is the best investment they've ever made. I often make back their entire investment within the first few months of properly implementing what I teach. If you're finally ready to become a consistently profitable trader that you know that you can be, here's what you have to do right now. Click the button below to complete a short application, book a call with my team to see if you're a good fit. If accepted, you'll get immediate access to every single thing. But you need to act fast. The last time I offered something like this, all spots were filled within 48 hours. And I'm confident in
quick CTA and a little bit of urgency, and he made sure not to make it fake urgency, which is of course a big no-no. If you use fake urgency, that's going to be a big no-no in the info space, because people will figure that out and that will ruin your personal brand image. So he's not using fake urgency because he said it might sell out in 48 hours. Obviously still going to build a lot of urgency. Now, once we click on the actual CTA, apply to Wall Street Academy, here's where you're going to go. So first of all, fill out the application below to qualify for WSA Inner Circles. At the bottom, you're going to see a ton of testimonials, screenshots again and again, but there's no video testimonials, which is again a big problem. For the actual application, it's probably a pretty basic application. Let's just go through it quickly. Please find a time here. This was a huge thing that I noticed that a lot of people don't have. By embedding your Calendly into your Typeform, there's going to be a huge increase of 20% more people going from app booked into actual booking of a call. 20%. So this is a huge thing that a lot of people aren't doing right now. And this is a very big lever they can pull right now within your funnel. And it's going to make a huge difference. I do believe you need to pay for Typeform to let you do this, but it's well worth the money, especially if you're making actual bank from your info offer right now. And obviously after this, you book in a call for a specific time, and then after that, and you'll be followed up with email and everything like that. So let's go and hop back over to the Miro board real quick. So as you can see, that was Q Banks's $112,000 per month sales funnel. He has the capacity to be making 2 times this, double his money right now, just by optimizing the sales funnel further and not making it look as scammy, as well as adding in his TikTok, of course, and expanding his reach with his marketing and his content. So anyways, hope you got a ton of value from that video. If you have any ideas for any other people that you want me to make a funnel breakdown on, leave that in the comments. If you have any ideas to improve the content, leave that in my DMs. The link to my Instagram is right down below. If you want to go ahead and work with me, go ahead and check the first link or the second link down below. DM me on Instagram. We can talk. It's not going to be some random setter. It's going to be me and you talking. And from there, if we're a good fit, we can go ahead and book in a call. I'll give you a ton of value on that call. So either way, you're going to walk away with a ton of sauce, no matter if we work together or not. So you have nothing to lose. Anyways, if you don't want to do any of that and you just want to watch another one of my videos, go ahead and check this one out right here, because YouTube thinks that you'll like it. And if you want to watch the whole funnel breakdowns playlist with upwards of $200,000 worth of just pure sauce, you can go ahead and check that out right here. And if you want to leave a like and subscribe, which I would appreciate, go ahead and click this button right here. Anyways, hoping to see you in this next video. Goodbye.